Good morning. It is December 16th, 2022, and the time is 7:30 a.m. The special meeting of the Mesquite ISD Board of Trustees is called to order. A quorum is present, and notice of the meeting has been posted in the time and manner required by law. Welcome to everyone. First item on the agenda is an action item under administration to approve the District of Innovation Plan. Dr. Feinglass.
Good morning and Merry Christmas. It is, you can hear me now. Now I'm on. It is time for us to submit a new District of Innovation Plan. They run for 5 years, and so our first one was from 2017 to 2022, and so now the one that we're proposing will go through 2027. The plan is the same as it was before. We started with maintaining a reasonable class size. As you know, the cap is low at 22-1, and we really want to hit that. We really want to stay there. But in times of this shortage that we're in, that's just not possible in some areas. The flexible school start date is because if we don't have this, we can't start school until the fourth Monday in August. And of course, we want to start before that. So probationary contract period is whenever we hire new teachers, they're on a 3-year probationary. But if they come out of the state, they're on a 5 of 8 contract if they've taught 5 of the last 8 years, and they're on a 1-year probationary. And so we would just like to have more time with those teachers and be able to extend that probationary period for them as well. The alternatives to educator certification, that again goes back to the teacher shortage right now and just having a hard time trying to find teachers that are certified in all areas, and so this gives us some flexibility there. And of course, along with that, we provide mentorship, we provide professional learning, we make sure that we are supporting them in the classroom. The last two, these are new additions to the plan. The teacher contract days is because whenever the state moved to students on minutes and teachers on days, that really tied down the calendar. It made things difficult, it made things hard. And so what we want to be able to do is have some flexibility there. Even things like, as you know, whenever there are snow days or different things like that, we come to a special board meeting to decide if we're going to pay the teachers because of that 187 rule. And so we want some flexibility there. Planning and preparation time is also a new one for us, and this is also caused by the teacher shortage and the sub shortage. So when teachers have their conference period, if we need them to cover for another teacher because there are no subs, we are not allowed to pay them. We're not allowed to give them a portion of that sub stipend, and we want to be able to do that. If they're giving up their planning time to go cover a class, that means they're planning at home at night or they're doing things at night, and so we want to make sure that they're compensated for that. And so this is our new plan that we will be submitting if you approve.
Anybody have any questions?
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Mr. Bingham and a second by Ms. Collier to approve the District of Innovation Plan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is an action item to approve the accreditation results. Dr. Feinglass?
Yes, so as you know, we just finished up this round of accreditation with our campuses, and the purpose of accreditation is that we believe our schools should be accountable to our community, and we believe the school board should have more control to determine the accreditation of our campuses. And while we want the state testing to be a part of this, it needs to be a part of the accreditation process. It does not need to be the one thing, the driving factor. So this is why why we do accreditation. We have our same 6 categories that we have been using for accreditation. And so we just finished with our 7 campuses. We have the 2 entities that go together to determine accreditation, and that is, of course, the school board members and Engage to Learn partners with us for this work. And we are excited to announce that all 7 campuses received accreditation in the 6 areas. And these results will be posted for the public when STAR scores come out. We post these accreditation portfolios and the results on the individual campuses' websites. So you have the scores in front of you, and so this is an action item.
Dig it. Oh, it's an action item. Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Collier and a second by Mr. Carbo to approve the accreditation results. Is there any discussion? Anybody have any questions?
No, I just wanted to make a comment. I mean, this process, we've been working on this for years, but what I loved about it this year, it was evident that the campuses are really realizing what they do for the kids. And bringing it out to the open and presenting all the programs they have helps them really make these programs better and work the way they should be. So I was very, very happy with the results and having an opportunity to speak to the administrators and those that are really working on these programs. So thank you.
Yes, the campuses love it just as much. You're exactly right. They're very proud when they're finished, and they love getting to show y'all everything that they do.
Anybody else? All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Motion carries. Next item is an action item to appoint an accreditation board committee. We feel like that moving forward, working with Dr. Rivera and Fineglass and anybody else, that we need to have some meetings to see the direction that we're going. I look back on our website to see, and I jotted down some things. The focus of a local accountability system, which is ours, it should be, the focus should be on continual move toward excellence, not an arbitrary standard like the state has come out with. We all remember what we heard from Donna Makeda regarding accountability just a few nights ago, and how, arbitrary that's going to be moving forward. But the locally developed system should remain flexible to meet the changing needs of our students over time. And it should focus on growth opportunities and not punitive measures. I want to make sure that our accountability system does not become so cumbersome that our staff at the campuses where, this accreditation process is going to be going through is not something that they dread, and we need to focus on improvement and focus on achieving that excellence for our students. And so Elaine Whitlock has agreed to serve as the chair of the committee. Eddie Rose has agreed to serve, and Kevin Carbo has agreed to serve on this committee moving forward. So, Robert?
Mr. President, I move that we approve the appointment of Elaine Whitlock, Kevin Carbo, and Eddie Rose to the Accreditation Board Committee.
We have a second? Ms. Collier? She raised her hand before Gary did. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Motion carries. Let's see, next item is an action item under property. Who's presenting this? Okay.
Super good morning, President Everett, Board of Trustees, Dr. Rivera, Cabinet. In front of you, you will have an item for consideration on a resolution to potentially approve a sale of a property at 2700 Motley. It is a 2-acre parking lot that currently the district owns, and I'll give you just a brief history of how this came about. November 17, there was an individual from Coldwell that came to my office through an appointment and came with a contract in hand to buy the property. So obviously I said no, but we went through the process, met with the administration team, came up with some ideas of whether this property was in fact a property that the district would not be utilizing in the future. It is right across the Linda Samples new building. It used to host overflow for the meetings, board meetings, and so on and so forth. The original offer was $950,000 for the property. We had discussions, again, with our lawyer, our counsel, and determined that, yeah, we kind of took it slow. Eventually, we did meet again. The offer came back at $1.263 million. We hadn't even asked for anything. And so we threw out a figure. Dr. Rivera said, you know what, if they're willing to purchase this property, let's throw a $1.5 million offer. And they came back and said yes to the $1.5 million offer. Now, what they are building here, it is affordable housing. It is through Palladium. It is a company that engages in building this types of buildings. What they do is they offer 40% of the apartments that they build below market and 60% above market to kind of mesh those communities. That is what they do. And they are also proposing this to the city of Mesquite on December 19th, and then they will eventually take it to the state to be considered for the application to get a 9% tax credit. So that is the process, and that's what you have before you. I will entertain any questions.
How many, do we know just right offhand, not that it has anything to do with the action here, but how many units would that property accommodate?
It was, yes, I did have that number, and approximately over 120 is what they would like to do. If they didn't have our property, it would be way below that.
Is this sale's not contingent on anything, is it?
No, sir.
Well, if they don't get approval from the city of Mesquite to construct this, yeah, it would be contingent on that.
Right. They have a,
Oh, okay, so if the city does not approve, the sale won't.
That is,
I think they have till February 28th. Is that correct?
that is correct.
We've not said that we support the apartment community. Yes? No? We're not
We
saying that.
don't make the call, that's a city decision.
Okay, good.
And so we're just pertaining to the sale of the property. But in terms of support, that would have to be up to the council.
Anybody else have any questions or?
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion by Mr. Rose and a second by Ms. Collier to approve the resolution authorizing the sale of real property. Mr. Thomas, do we need to go through and read all this verbiage? Eddie, could you go through and read all that for us?
You're talking about the resolution itself?
Well, no, on the, under property on our notice of special
There you go.
meeting.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve item 2B1, approve resolution authorizing the sale of real property described as a 2.00 acre tract of land out of the Daniel Tanner Survey, abstract number 1462, Dallas County, Texas, and being a portion of a tract of land known as 2700 Motley Drive, Mesquite, Texas. Is that correct? That's my motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Rose and a second by Ms. Collier. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I'm in favor of moving forward to allow them to negotiate. I'm going to relay some of the concerns and comments I had after reading the initial draft back to our attorney for some modifications. And I've discussed that with Dr. Rivera as well as our board president, Eddie Rose, over here.
Okay.
I just want to make a comment. I agree with the sale, and for the purposes, the contingency for what's going to be built there, I guess. But in my conversations with Dr. Rivera, I just pointed out the fact that this is real property. And once in a while, you have to sell some property, and it's going to be beneficial to us as a school district. But I just don't like selling real property, because once you get the funds, those funds are used, they're gone forever. The property lasts as long as you keep it. And property tends to grow in value. So sometimes selling property has to be really thought about deeply, because it's not always an advantage for the district.
You also want to protect the land that's around your schools and your property that you service your community with. You want it to be representative of what you want your community to look like and move forward in the future. Something to be cognizant of as we have other land, to ensure that we are good custodians and stewards of what we are already holding.
Right, in case of this particular property in question, you know, with the original professional development center that we had and the partnership that we have with Texas A&M Commerce, the existing parking at that location was not able to accommodate all the vehicles that we had, and so that's when we went and purchased the property across the street to add all those parking spaces. I'm not sure how many we added, probably close to 200, I'm guessing. But we no longer need that for this new facility, so that's one of the main reasons we're even considering, you know, allowing it to be sold. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Motion carries. Thanks to each of you for your time this morning. With no other business on the agenda, the time is now 7:48 a.m. This meeting is adjourned.